A shocking case of grave robbery and body part trafficking unfolds in Pennsylvania.
Can't rule that out right now with this case of Jonathan Ephrata. Ephrata. Jonathan. We can't rule that out. Jonathan Gerlach, Ephrata, Pennsylvania. All right. He dried them.
Put the thing over it. Is there anything like, How did it start? Like I say, might be 4 years. So there's a bunch of photographers from the newspapers want to take a picture. Do you want to take a picture? No, it's not yet. So we get to straighten it off. Would you enjoy it while you were doing it? What's the worst part of it? I mean, they didn't then. I knew better, like,
I knew better.
When you dig the grades up, you were kind of in the haze too, is that it? That's what I could do. Just how you know it. And then one time you said you were trying to realize what you were doing and you covered it up without taking it. That's right.
So that's what Ed Gein was doing. But guys, he also progressed to later on having a fascination with people and killing them. He started off, and we don't know that Mr. Jonathan Gerlach didn't do that to the corpses. We don't know. Norma, I'm so glad you got my book today. Thank you for letting me know. Shout out to you. Made skin chairs, made lamps, hung the bodies, and displayed them. All right. And that's the thing, Patricia. That's what I'm talking about. This morbid fascination of grave robbing became much more. And we don't know that that's not the case. But when I read the probable cause affidavit, you guys are going to say this is sicker than any horror movie I've seen.
What would you do with the sexual part? They tell about that and then. And what would you do with the head? That must have been taken from reading about in these magazines and everything. Taken the flesh off like a headhunter.
Sorry about the sound. Anyway, I mean, this is Ed Gein. You understand. I hope you know who Texas Chainsaw Massacre Ed Gein is, and we're going to compare that to Jonathan. Again, we're going to go into the grave today. I'm going to read the probable cause, which is more disturbing than anything. And right here, guys, I'm going to show you how this started 4 years ago. This started I cannot tell you if FBI has stepped in by now. They probably have, but this case grew into what it was because there was another grave robber that was selling these parts. All right. EG had a belt of nipples. He sure did. And I'm glad you guys know this. I'm glad you know this. Now let's quickly step into the families that were affected by this and the person that was sentenced to 6 years for doing a small part of this. Can you imagine what's going to happen to Jonathan?
Ones in Delaware County, the cemetery.
Check this out.
Speaking out about more than 100 skeletons that were stolen from the cemetery and then later found in a Lancaster County man's home last week. Fox 43's Matt Kleinen spoke with those family members and has the latest on the case.
People across Pennsylvania continue to be shocked after police pulled hundreds of skeletons from a Lancaster County home.
I've never heard of anything like this before. I don't think many people have.
34-year-old Jonathan Gerlach continues to sit in a Delaware County jail after he was arrested for vandalizing dozens of graves at the Mount Moriah Cemetery. Tony Schmidt says she was upset when she heard about the robbery, adding that her mother volunteered at the cemetery for years.
She would go to Mount Moriah and help clean up and visit the grave of her great-grandfather, who was the lieutenant commander.
We're going to go inside. We're going to see how he broke in and what he left and what he did. They don't have security guards in this area, and it was semi-abandoned. There's people that are hundreds of years old. But guys, this didn't start from Jonathan. This was kicked off 4 years ago when they did a massive sting operation, which nobody else is reporting on right now. I am. That's why I put that behind me, because that's what it looks like, the operation that they were doing. And you're going to see the other guy that got arrested and did 6 years for a slight thing that he says the only reason that he actually got busted, he's saying because he's tattooed and he looks different. But no, buddy, it's because you're a sick fuck. Sorry, excuse my language, but you're sick and you're desecrating infants and families and grandparents and mothers. You're desecrating their body for your sick and twisted, morbid mind and for monetary gain. This guy needs to be locked up for a really long time. And that's what they're going to do, it looks like.
At Little Round Top in Gettysburg.
It's angering, but it's also heartbreaking.
Christine Mello says she drove to Mount Moriah to check on her grandparents' graves shortly after hearing about Gerlach's arrest.
I pulled up and there was an elderly man there who was looking for his dad. Where's my dad at? Is my dad's bones taken? Where are they? And I was calming down this man, being like, is he a mausoleum? Like, what do we know?
According to court documents, Gerlach is accused of robbing grave sites in Delaware and Luzerne counties. Social media accounts belonging to Gerlach also showed human skulls on display. In a Facebook Live, Jeremy Paulie, who pled guilty to trafficking human remains.
And I'm going to show you I've got his Instagram, his Facebook, and everything that you all need to know about Jonathan Gerlach. And that is not Jonathan Gerlach. This guy is intertwined in the case because law enforcement dug in to find the people that were not only stealing from the graves, but selling, desecrating, and displaying these bodies. And it's bigger than I thought it was going to be. 2 women in Florida are also arrested for it. Well, check this out. It got bigger, and I'm glad that you came in and know that, because this was about Jonathan Gerlach today, but then we've got this guy that isn't Jonathan Gerlach. What does this have to do with anything? Well, we're going to find out.
Last year claimed that Gerlach bought some of his collection off his ex-wife.
I had tried to reach out to him at one point about like, hey, what you bought, what you brokered wasn't her.
So he's actually talking about something that he sold to Gerlach. Imagine this. Imagine in Florida, law enforcement doing a sting operation for CSAM, right? Imagine there's a big CSAM operation or sex trafficking. Well, what they do is they find the head honcho that's selling one of the girls, and they go and look for the guy that's buying. Well, that's what they did in this case, because this is the first guy. His name is Paulie. This is the guy that got arrested initially 4 years ago and got 6 years. But now they're asking him, how did he interact with Jonathan? And that's where we have him and his girlfriend.
To sell. I mean, he kind of like told me, to
Volunteers with the Mount Moriah Cemetery say they are looking for donations to improve security, while families call on local governments to protect the grounds.
What is the point of taxes in government if we're not taking care of our lands and spaces?
Matt Kleindens, Fox 43 News.
All right, so you see the family members, the people
I want to share some new
intertwined, and just quickly, I'm going to introduce you to the man that started this. This is the PA man that started, Jeremy Paulie. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison on Monday. Now, this was December 24th, 2025, guys. This was just happening when Christmas Eve rolled around after 4 years of them investigating. All right. Now, this guy is going to court and being sentenced, and the effect of it is Jonathan Gerlach being charged with hundreds of counts of desecration, etc.
Being sentenced today to 6 years in prison. So we have been following this disturbing case since the very beginning. CBS 21's Lily Sexton was in the courtroom today and has more from Williamsport.
Jeremy Paulie admitted to his involvement in this interstate black market for body parts, but he argued that he's not the most responsible for the crime and that his sentence should reflect that. Do you have anything to say to the families involved on his
could you even imagine that
way
in Pennsylvania there being a giant sting operation for these weirdos stealing your relatives' body parts and displaying them, hanging corpses from your ceiling? I just don't get this. And he tries to blame it on his look, but no, guy, no. You're selling and displaying people's family members.
To the courthouse, he had no comment, but inside, for the first time, we heard from Jeremy Paulie saying he has, quote, deep regret for his actions, hoping that the families affected are able to find peace. This case dates back to June of 2023, officers finding multiple gallon jugs filled with body parts at Paulie's home in Enola. That gruesome discovery leading to a multi-state investigation.
Now, this is what happened. It led to the investigation, which led them into the same town as Jeremy Paulie, and it's Jonathan Gerlach. All right. So who would have thought that this was a bigger problem, a bigger case than this one isolated incident where this guy is selling hundreds of different parts and people. I mean, I had no idea what I was uncovering. I'm like, whoa, that means you've got Jeremy Paulie here. I don't see Jonathan Gerlach on here at all. But then the suspects span all the way out to Minnesota. Well, there's Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. It's everywhere. They're selling these all the way back from 2018. All right.
FBI finding out some of the body parts were stolen from those who donated their bodies to science. Their loved ones unaware that the ashes they received were incomplete. Those loved ones represented today by the prosecution. Impact statements included one woman whose stillborn fetal remains were stolen and sold to Paulie, saying it feels like she lost her son twice. Another woman saying she has PTSD because of the unknown. A similar sentiment one woman we spoke to had.
It has been so traumatic to go through. And I feel just like I'll never, ever be completed. I'll never, ever be at ease because all these questions will stay in my mind forever.
Paulie pleaded guilty to interstate transport of stolen property and conspiracy to commit the same crime, since selling body parts is not illegal in PA or federally. The prosecution asked the judge for 15 years, saying, quote, he is the one at the center of the night.
But now we realize that Jonathan is much bigger than this guy. So what's happening here? Shoot for the stars, got 1 and 2. What is up, my friend? Good to see you. Big hug. Thank you so much. Towards our goal. Yeah, Michael Jackson wanted to buy the bones of the Elephant Man, but this operation is much more dirty. And I mean, I guess that's dirty too, but you have money, you can buy it. This is just the lowest of the low. I didn't even think about that with the Michael Jackson thing. That's interesting.
Mayor. The judge says that while Paulie isn't the most culpable, he still knowingly violated the rights of the families already living through tragedy, handing down the 6-year sentence. Paulie has until January 16th to appear in front of the Department of Corrections. The judge says that he will.
All right, so we don't care about the Paulie man. We just wanted Jeremy Paulie. We wanted to kick this off.